Hey everyone, Jacob is here. Today's topic is the real-world value of all treasures that Indiana Jones gathered. Indiana Jones is one of the most beloved characters in cinema history. He's smart, sarcastic, handsome, strong, and adventurous, and his movies aren't too shabby either. Harrison Ford has been playing this character for over 3 decades, and he's reprising the role for Indiana Jones 5, officially titled Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Destiny, that will be released exclusively in movie theaters on June 30th, 2023. But before you watch Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny with your friends or family, let's take a walk to see the real-world value of all the artifacts Professor of Archaeology Indiana Jones gathered in the franchise, from $15,000 to priceless. The Cross of Coronado appeared in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade 1989, and named for the famous explorer Francisco Vázquez de Coronado, the fictional artifact made by gold. The cross was believed to contain a piece of the cross upon which Jesus Christ was crucified. After Coronado lost the cross during his hunt for the 7 cities of gold, the relic found its way to Utah. Rumors of conquistadors hiding gold in the caves of Utah made their way to treasure hunters, who then hired unsavory sorts to find the artifacts. If we take a genuine and more ornate 16th century Spanish crucifix, much bigger than the Cross of Coronado, we get into the 5 figures. So, the Cross of Coronado possible worth? $15,000. The Mask of Orellana appeared in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull 2008. Francisco de Orellana's death mask was a golden burial mask placed with conquistador Francisco de Orellana after the man was killed in 1546 by the guardians of a cemetery overlooking the Nazca Plain. The history of death masks stretches back thousands of years, but wasn't commonplace in Europe until the 17th century. The value would depend on the materials and historical significance of the individual. A funerary mask from the same era, but an earlier, can provide a rough guide for the price. A pre-Columbian death mask made from gold, silver, and copper has a value of up to $40,000. Possible worth? Roughly starting at $50,000, more if it is gold. Crystal Skull of Akator appeared in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull 2008. Crystal skulls are the remains of the people who ruled in the Temple of Akator. They became known as gods to the Uga tribe, who worshipped them accordingly and built temples in their honor. The famous skull was the one uncovered by Frederick Mitchell Hedges, a stockbroker turned self-described adventurer. Mitchell Hedges apparently found the Skull of Doom in a temple in Belize in the 1920s. In 1964, Anna Mitchell Hedges attempted to sell the Skull of Doom, asking for no less than $50,000. Today, that means the minimum base price at auction would be $480,665. But this was before the skull's history was questioned. Given the materials and history of the artifact, it is safe to say the Skull of Doom could easily be worth more than $100,000 as an art piece. Sir Richard's Shield. Sir Richard's shield was one of 2 markers left by the Knights of the First Crusade that appeared in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade 1989, describing the location of the Holy Grail, the cup of Jesus Christ that used during the Last Supper. Richard had died on the trip home to France from the Grail's location. A sufficiently rare shield can fetch a pretty high sale price, and this one equivalent with ancient Anglo-Saxon shields in the British Museum that probably worth $250,000 at auction. Grail Knight's Sword. The Grail Knight's sword was a 2-handed broadsword wielded by the Grail Knight in his role of guardian of the Holy Grail at the Temple of the Sun that appeared in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade 1989. The Grail Knight's sword was modeled after Joyeuse, the sword of Charlemagne, currently on display in the Louvre. Though similar in appearance, the Grail Knight's sword wouldn't have anything like Joyeuse's value because it was wielded by a knight, not royalty. The value of a real Crusader sword is a much better indicator of the weapon's true worth. A 14th century Crusader sword fetched just under $200,000 at auction in 2012, quite a bit more than the expected sale price. The Grail Knight's sword runs into was from a much earlier era, the 11th century, and is rarer. Factor in the age, inflation, and excellent condition of the sword, and it could probably get about $500,000 at auction. Chachapoyan fertility idol. The Chachapoyan fertility idol, also known the idol of the Chachapoyan warriors, was a 6-inch tall, solid gold representation of the Chachapoyan goddess of fertility, known to the Inca as Pachamama, that appeared in Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. It was created by the Chachapoyans circa 64 BC. This is a tricky one to value, because the real-life inspiration for the idol comes from a different culture, and scholars have expressed doubts about its authenticity. Based on the estimated weight, age, and material used to make the idol, a conservative estimate would put the selling price at $2.5 million, though it would likely far exceed this figure if put up for auction. Headpiece to the Staff of Ra. The Staff of Ra headpiece is an Egyptian artifact from the 21st dynasty that appeared in Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. The headpiece is dated to the 10th century BCE, and it was found in Tanis, which served as the political capital for the 21st dynasty during the Third Intermediate Period. A wooden coffin from the 21st dynasty brought in $3.25 million at auction in 2019. A bronze medallion from the same era is surely comparable, and if we factor in the true purpose of the medallion, it's going to be worth easily double that. In the movie, Marion sells the headpiece to Indy for the pharaoh sum of $300,000 in 1936. That puts it at $7 million in today's money. The Holy Grail. The legendary cup of Jesus Christ used during the Last Supper, the Holy Grail became the subject of Arthurian legend when King Arthur and his knights went on a grand quest to recover the relic that appeared in Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, 1989. The cup is said to contain great powers, including immortality to those who drink from it and the ability to heal. First, it's possible there is no Holy Grail, because the earliest sources pertaining to its existence are from the 12th century. Many historians believe the Grail is a medieval literary creation, not a real treasure to be found. So, valuing the real deal is kind of a moot point. Ark of the Covenant. The legendary biblical Ark of the Covenant is where the pieces of the Ten Commandments were placed after Moses shattered the original tablets that appeared in Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. A casket of gold and precious materials, the relic is supposed to have supernatural powers, allowing anyone with a proper heritage, means, and abilities to wield great power. Was there a real Ark of the Covenant? Possibly. But even if it did exist, it's been lost to the sands of time for thousands of years. Should some lucky soul actually stumble upon it, they would have the most valuable artifact in the world in their hands. Built to the specific dimensions laid out in the Bible, working out the weight of the gold alone is a challenge. At a minimum, the gold plating alone would be worth about $60 million. Even with a rough and conservative estimate of its value, buying or selling the Ark would be impractical, and its discovery would likely ignite a major diplomatic row over where it should be kept. This is one artifact best kept hidden for all time. If there's any topic that you want me to discuss, please comment below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, also turn notification on. See you on the next video.